I have had the first major setback in my training program so far. I'm kind of concerned that I might actually be injured. When I got up to go and pee in the middle of the night last night, my left Achilles made some weird clicking noises. It wasn't painful, but when I reached down to touch my Achilles, I did feel a small little bubble of swelling right where the calf muscle meets the Achilles tendon. So I am pretty concerned about that. Welcome to Roughing It with Ruth, the channel where everything is a bit rough around the edges. Although I have already gone to the sports doctor, and I'll give you a bit of an update about what she said about my Achilles tendon, I am going to ask ChatGPT what it thinks I should have done. Here is the little prompt that I am about to put in. Some of its suggestions are pretty sensible, things like resting and reducing the load, but something that it did not suggest at all, and I think that's really bad, is it did not suggest consulting a sports doctor or any kind of medical professional. And that is what I did. And I definitely think that was the right course of action. I went to a sports doctor on Friday. She did an ultrasound of that area, and she said that there is a very small area where the fibers are disrupted. She advised me to rest until Wednesday, and then on Wednesday to do a short run, walk, test run on flatter terrain and just see how I feel and see how the Achilles feels after that in the recovery, and then email her to let her know all of those things, and we'll take it from there. ChatGPT is saying that I should only return to running when there's no swelling or pain at rest, but it was never painful. And it was only swollen for a very brief period. It's never been swollen since then. So technically that means I could return to running right now. If I'm listening to ChatGPT, I would be running already. It says then I should resume with a short, flat, easy-paced run and monitor for 24 hours after, which is essentially the same thing that the sports doctor told me to do, which is great. And then it says gradually build back to normal mileage and elevation gain, and include daily calf strength and mobility work to protect the tendon. That is something that the sports doctor also mentioned. She gave me an additional strength training exercise to do with a resistance band to add a little bit of calf strength and lower leg strength to try and deal with this issue. ChatGPT also says that increased elevation and technical terrain for trail runners can load the Achilles and calves more than expected. And that is what the sports doctor said, is that she suspects that this was from stepping in some slightly strange way over very uneven terrain, or perhaps when I was jumping across the river and causing some little micro injury that then progressively got a little bit worse because I kept on running on it. The sports doctor, interestingly, was not at all concerned about the training plan. I did give her quite a bit of information about what I'd been doing the week before and the types of runs I'm doing, the strength training, hill repeats, bloody. And she seemed completely fine with that training plan. She didn't seem too worried about what I had been doing. So that's good. Okay, so I just told ChatGPT what I did on Friday and what the sports doctor told me to do. And this is ChatGPT's recommendation for returning to running if the test run on Wednesday goes well. And I have to say, this all seems very reasonable to me. The test run itself, it is suggesting that I pay a lot of attention to warming up properly beforehand. And then it's got some recommendations for if the test run doesn't go well. The one really major issue with ChatGPT is if you don't know what you're doing with running or getting injured or rehab, then it's very easy to do the wrong thing. And it's very easy to not notice if ChatGPT leaves out something really important. Like, to me, the absolute first step if you notice some problem or you get injured is to consult a medical professional, because I cannot tell you what a weight off my mind it was when the sports doctor put that ultrasound wand on my Achilles tendon and she could actually see exactly what was going on in there, and she could see that it wasn't a tear, it was just a little fiber disruption, and she measured it so that if it gets worse we can compare it to the last ultrasound. And that sort of thing is not something that you can do on your own. You can't get that level of information by just resting and elevating and icing. And I know that doctors are expensive, and that the whole reason I'm doing the ChatGPT coaching program is because I don't have money for a real coach. But when it comes to injuries and your health, I think that is the time when it is worthwhile to dig into your savings and actually go and see a real doctor, because you don't want to play around with that sort of thing. You don't want to leave it up to AI. You want to leave it up to someone who has trained specifically for those scenarios. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more from me, then you can click on my channel name to see videos that I've made in the past, or you can subscribe to my channel to see videos that I'm going to make in the future. I also have an entire playlist of all of the AI coaching videos that I've made so far, and I will leave a link to that in the video description.